Hey everyone, welcome to the video. I'm Amy and I post new videos every week. Today's video is going to be my 2021 foundation ranking. This is every foundation that I tried in the year of 2021, and that is 26 foundations. Who in their right mind? That's more than 2 a month. Oh, Lord. And I even thought I wasn't trying enough. I was like, oh my gosh, I need to buy more foundations. So I have foundations in my collection right now that I haven't even opened yet. But today I'm going to rank. I got this in complete order, right? From 26 all the way to 1, but I do have sections. I have bad foundations. I have okay foundations. I have, hey, these are good foundations. And I have, these are the best foundations. So if you are ready to hear me talk about that, go ahead and like this video so I know you like it. Subscribe if you haven't already, and let's get into it. Now, most of these foundations I do have a video on somewhere on my channel, either first impressions, or I'm talking about it and reviewing it, or I did a 3-day foundation wear test, so you could probably find most of them on my channel so you can get a deeper dive. I'm not going to have time to go super deep into each one because then we would be here until next year. And I'm trying to wrap this year up. You know what I mean? The number 26 spot, the absolute worst foundation I tried in 2021. That's right. It's the Revolution Super Dewy Skin Tint. It was not super. It was not dewy. It was barely a skin tint. It was so disgusting, so awful, so peely and patchy, and like, I had to wash this off. Like, I couldn't even wear it the whole day. I washed it off. No, absolutely not. Worst foundation of 2021, by far the worst. You know what, actually, quite close second to worst foundation, number 25, the Maybelline Fit Me Tinted Moisturizer. I do not know. There's no way that they did any kind of like quality control on these or tried them on anyone's skin before they started selling them. I haven't seen anything really about this one, or not much about this one, but everything I've seen about this one has been like, this is straight trash. So, I mean, and these they did very similar things. Like, they broke up on my skin very weird. They balled up on my skin very weird. They were very patchy. No, number 26 and number 25. Number 24, this one is a lot better than those ones. Like, I could get away with wearing this one if I wanted to. It's just not great for my dry skin. I don't like it on my skin at all. And that is the Catrice True Skin. This was just, it didn't work at all for me. It wore very weird. It was all bunchy and like disappeared in certain spots. And I know a lot of people have seen my video, my 3-day wear test on this, because they're all coming from Tati's video, which is wild. But I mean, I did this video like in the middle of the year, and then she came back, and one of the first videos she did was talking about this foundation, how much she loved it. And so people were like, somehow like YouTube connected those two videos. And so I've gotten so many views on that video, and I'm sure people are very upset because I had different opinions than Tati. I'm so sorry, but I have dry, very thirsty skin, and it does not like this foundation. So this one is number 24. So those 3 are the only 3. And all 26 foundations that I tried this year, there's only 3 that I would consider bad. Like, don't buy this kind of bad, okay? Like, please don't waste your money to even like test it. Like, it's bad enough that it's not even worth a try, okay? There were only 3. I think that's a pretty good year. This next section, by the way, I'm calling the okay. Like, I would wear it if I had to. It doesn't do anything for my skin. There's some negative to it, but overall it's okay. Number 23 is the Milani Cream to Powder Foundation. Now, this shade is a little bit fair, which typically makes things look a little bit more dry on me. But surprisingly, for it being like this cream to powder formula, it didn't look that bad on my skin, and I would say it's pretty okay. If you like a compact type foundation, and probably if you have dry skin, you need to like prep it very well, but probably more in the like normal to oily skin would like this, and maybe even just like as like a touch up throughout the day kind of thing. I didn't mind it. I just didn't see enough pros to it really to put it any more, like it's okay. There are plenty of affordable foundations further up on this list that I would recommend. So, I mean, if you were looking for something that's specifically this kind of packaging and formula, it's okay. It's okay. Number 22. I feel so bad putting this one down here, but like once I lined it up next to the rest of my foundations, I've tried some really good foundations this year. So this one's just okay to me. And that is the Huda Beauty Stick Foundation. Now, if you watched my videos like last year and the end of last year, I love the Makeup Forever stick foundation. I love the Wet n Wild stick foundation. Have I tried any other stick foundations? I've tried a couple, but those two are the top. And those ones are like very emollient, very hydrating, very creamy. They like glide on the skin. This one isn't like too dry to where it doesn't like glide on the skin, but because it has a little bit more stiff of a formula and I have to rub it on my face, I found that it just like kind of aggravated my dryness, any flaky areas that might be on my skin. If you still want to see a 3-day foundation wear test with any of these, let me know. That way I can give you all the close-ups and details that you want and go into more in depth. But a lot of these I have done 3-day foundation wear tests on, so just search that first, but let me know. I haven't done one for this one. I started to, but then I got so many more foundations and I just kept going with what was happening since this is an older foundation. But I like the coverage that it gives. I just don't love it. You know what I mean? Like, it's okay. It's okay. All right, the last okay foundation, and this one is the top of my okay. It's almost good, but I think because I have dry skin, I want a little bit more. You know what I mean? Like, you've got to be like a matte that works for my dry skin, or a dewy foundation, or a hydrating foundation. This one is like a cream foundation, and it's kind of got more coverage, which some of these have coverage, but most of the ones as we go up, you'll see like the more hydrating it is, the less coverage it has, and it just kind of goes in that route. But number 21, that is okay, is the Beauty Blender Bounce Foundation. Now, I did do a 3-day foundation wear test for this, and I did recommend it, and I think that's based on the fact that it shocked me. You know what I mean? Like, it did well on my skin, which was shocking for me. I didn't expect it to do well on my skin, but just my own personal preferences, like, it's not one that I'm going to reach for very often. So it's okay. It's okay. I would fair to say this is almost good, just not my cup of tea, doesn't light the fire inside of my heart, So number 21, Beauty Blender Bounce Foundation, another foundation that Tati loves. We must have very different skin types. I'm just saying. All right, now we are moving in to the good foundation section. This section is the biggest. This one has 13 foundations in it, okay? So think about that. There were only 3 bad foundations, 3 okay foundations, but there are 13 good foundations. These are foundations that I think a lot of people would like. There's obviously different finishes and coverages and things like that, but I think overall these foundations, you wouldn't be disappointed if you got them. They just might not be like the one for you depending on your preferences and needs, Number 20 is the Natasha Denona Transfer Matte Foundation. This is a really good medium to full coverage foundation with a matte finish that didn't look terribly drying or like the Sahara Desert on my skin. It looked fairly decent for a matte foundation, and especially for a matte, like creamy foundations. Usually like that moussey, creamy matte formula doesn't work really well on my skin. Usually when a foundation is matte, for me, it's like the thin liquidy matte. Does that make sense? Number 19. Now, I would consider this one very similar to the Natasha Denona Transfer Matte, except for this would be on the more hydrating side of that. It has a very like thick, creamy formula, and that is the Bite Beauty Changemaker Foundation. I know a lot of people were liking this. A lot of dry skin people were liking this. So I definitely think this is the like middle ground between oily skin, normal skin, dry skin. This could work for any skin type. So I feel like a lot of people would really like this. For me personally, I just don't love a like moussey kind of texture as much as some of these other textures we're going to get into. And it's not very hydrating or like dewy or glowy or anything like that, but overall a very good basic middle of the road kind of foundation. All right, for number 18, this one is in this spot because for me it's almost like a little bit forgettable. I need to try it again to see if it would move, but as of right now, like almost every foundation here, like I can specifically picture in my mind what it looked like on my face and how it reacted. And I wore them enough to know that. This one I wore in a first impressions, I think. And then I wore it like a couple days after that. But that's pretty much it. And I can't really place anything about it. But I do remember that it is along the lines of the Bite one, a little bit more of a creamy, but it is a dewy version. And that is the Giorgio Armani Neo Nude True Skin Natural Glow Foundation. I remember it being like a medium coverage, creamy kind of situation, but it had more of a hydrating finish, which would make it above the last two that I just talked about, which is why it is number 18. But I don't have any memories of being like really impressed or in awe of how it looked on my skin. You know, I definitely do need to try it more, but for right now, I'm going to leave that at number 18 because that feels good. That feels good to me. So number 18. All right, number 17. And I think this one is kind of farther down than it should be because I don't have a good shade. And I thought I would be able to get away with it. But you know, whenever something is your perfect shade, you reach for it more. Whenever something is not your perfect shade, you're just like not apt to reach for it as much. So that is the Cosmetics Cushion Foundation. How dark it is. Now, obviously the cushion makes it darker, but it is still quite a like peachy color for me. Let's see. I don't know if you can see. I have a million swatches on my hand, so you can see it right there. Yeah. So it is quite peachy for me, but it is a really nice like, there we go, sheer to medium, and it has a lovely glow on it, and the application is very nice in combination with the fact that it is a little bit dark for me. There is one cushion foundation that has my heart, and that is the Wet n Wild cushion foundation, which I don't even know if they sell anymore, but man, that looks beautiful on the skin, and it is a joy to use, and it's affordable. So like, man, I mean, I think it looks really pretty on the skin, oh gosh, skin. And I think if you like a hydrating, dewy, it's very thin, and you like cushion, compact, like the packaging, like if you like your foundation to be in a package like this, I think you would like it, especially if you have more like normal to dry skin, probably not oily. I feel like this could get really, really dewy really fast. So I like it. It's just like, it's a good foundation. It just doesn't like, when I'm comparing things to like my favorite, you know, like it's got to like stab me in the heart when I see it, right? So that doesn't do that for me. So this one is number 17, the Cosmetics Cushion Foundation. And similarly along those lines, we have number 16, which is the Missha Radiance Cushion Foundation. I did a 3-day wear test with this one where I compared it to the regular Missha CC cream, and you can see this one is a much better color for me right there. It is still a little bit off, but it is way better than the Cosmetics one. So that's really why it's above it. The formulas are actually quite similar, but when I'm using this one, I'm comparing it in my head to the Wet n Wild one. And when I'm using this one, I'm comparing it to the Missha like the regular BB cream, which has way more coverage and just lasts better than this does. So that is why they are here in the good pile. They're good foundations. I think if you have a dry to a normal to dry skin, that you would enjoy them. And then number 15 is going to be the Purito Cica Clearing BB Cream. I know a lot of people really love this. Like even my friends like Emily and Ava really love this. Taylor Wynn really loves this. Jessica Braun really loves this BB cream. And I really like it, but I do think I prefer the Missha BB cream. This one has just like, it's much more radiant, but it's got that like almost like Tin Man radiance to it. So if you build it up and have a little bit more coverage, then you end up being like extremely radiant, which for Ava and Emily would be totally fine because they set their face with powder most of the time. And I'm not that big on setting my face with powder. I'm more on the Taylor Wynn side of that. I haven't watched Taylor's video with this in a while, so I'm curious if she sets it down with powder. Or maybe it's just my specific color, 21 Light Beige, that is just, it feels a little bit Tin Man highlighty. And I prefer the Missha one. So, all right, number 14 is going to be Sephora Best Skin Ever. I did do a 3-day foundation wear test on this, and I do like this. It's a good foundation. And this is the first one of the like more matte foundations that has that like thin formula, that thin matte formula. This one's a little bit more skin-like. It's not completely like powder matte look to it. It's a little bit more of a skin-like finish, but it does have pretty good coverage. It's a very, again, like middle of the line kind of foundation. I think a lot of people would like this foundation, and they'd probably be able to find a good color because I do think they have a pretty vast color range with different undertones and everything like that. So I think this is a really good one. Like anything here in the good section, like I would recommend. But like the ones in the best are the best. They like are the best. They're most perfect for me. You know what I mean? Like a lot of these ones in the good category are good foundations. They're just not perfect for me. Does that make sense? I'm going to keep harping on this because I really want you to understand. But anyways, yes. So this one is number 14. All right, number 13 is the Uoma by Sharon C foundation. This is the new Uoma Beauty line that can be bought at Walmart, and they have a great selection, and I do like this one better than the original foundation. This one, oddly enough, it's a little bit creamier of a formula, where the other one is like more of like a thin matte formula. But I got the blue cap in this one, and I think it's the purple cap or the pink cap in the other one. And I like this one a little bit better. It is a little bit more hydrating. It has a little bit more of that like plumpingness to it, but this one looks really nice and like a creamy matte on the face, almost like satin, and it's got a lot of coverage. I think this color is a little bit dark for me. This is Fair Lady T1. But this is the kind where like if I really want a full coverage look, similar to what I've got going on right now, that's what this would give me. This kind of like creamy, well, I've got like highlight and highlighty powder on, you know, but like this section, like this creamy coverage kind of situation. And I really like this. It's a really good one. So number 13. All right, number 12 is the LYS Triple Fix Serum Foundation. Now, this foundation is a really nice, thin, hydrating, like deliciously like drink of water for your skin with a glow to it, but it is a little bit dark for my skin. There we go, yeah. As you can see, it is a little bit dark for my skin, so it is not one that I reach for often just because of that. And I don't love it enough for me to go buy another shade. You know what I mean? Like for me, I love it enough to keep it around and wear it in the summer or mix it with something else whenever I feel like using it and it's a good foundation. But I don't like, it's not special place in my heart kind of love to where I would go buy a second shade of it. All right, number 11 is the Flower Beauty Get Real Serum Foundation. This is a really good foundation. This is one of those more thin matte kind of foundation. It does have a little bit of like hydration to it, and it kind of creates, I don't want to say a mask on your skin, but like almost like a mask on your skin to where it like moves with you and doesn't like break. I don't know if I'm making sense. Like I feel like some foundations like really break up when you move around and stuff, and this one really doesn't. It's a nice thin, very skin-like matte kind of finish, and I love this kind of finish, but I have other ones in my collection like NARS Sheer Glow and the Kokie foundation and even the L'Oreal Fresh Wear. This has the same kind of vibe of those where it's like this thin matte kind of formula that's not like super powdery drying cracking matte, but like a good matte for even dry skin. And that's what I really like about this one. However, I'm a dry skin girl. I love a hydrating, glowy, dewy situation, which you're about to see here in a moment. So this is number 11. All right, for number 10, I am giving that one to the Danessa Myricks Vision Cream Cover. That is what I have on my face today. And yes, I do have some like glowier products on today, but I have also completely set it with powder. Like completely set it with loose powder, completely put on like a glowy finishing powder on top of it. And it's like the perfect makeup. It is the perfect makeup artist makeup, film makeup, TV makeup, like everything to do. Like it's so, her makeup, she just really knows what she's doing. She really, really does. And it's like, it gives so much coverage in a little tiny amount of product, and it wears really well. It does exactly what you want it to do. Like, I don't know what else to say about this stuff. Like, I know today I'm wearing it very, very heavily. Like, I have like what I would consider cake face. Like, I have a thick amount of makeup on today, and I think honestly it still looks so good for what's going on my face. But you don't have to go this hard with it. Go watch my Danessa Myricks video and I show you up close what this looks on my skin, and it looks so beautiful on my skin. So this is number 10. I still put this in the good category because it is way more full coverage than I need, and also because I got 2 shades to mix the correct shade, so it's just like a little bit more work for me to do it. But I don't know if it stands based on what I just said. I really like this one. All right, number 9 is going to be the MAC Studio Radiance New Face and Body Radiant Sheer Foundation. I really like this. I like the packaging. It's a whole different experience compared to a lot of the foundations in my collection. And I feel like this one is really good as well, like similarly to the Danessa, even though this one's like no coverage compared to the Danessa one, to where like you can really play with this. You can put this on, put on powders, add a little bit more of this. You can touch up with this, it's very like malleable and does multiple things for you, which is really nice to have in a foundation. I have wanted to play around with mixing this with other things. I haven't gotten to do that, but I definitely need to. So this is number 9 for me because it doesn't tickle that fancy. Like the when we get to the best, I'm gonna be like, hey, I'm obsessed with these. That's how it's going to sound. So I really like this. It's a really good foundation. It doesn't have a lot of coverage, so just go into it knowing that. But if you like a really everyday situation, it's a tried and true, standard in the makeup community for a reason, right? And then number 8, and this one really reminds me of the MAC Studio Fix. I just did a 3-day wear test on this. So if you haven't seen that, I will go ahead and link this one here. And that is the Tower 28 Sunny Days Broad Spectrum SPF Tinted Sunscreen. They're calling this a tinted sunscreen, but this has way more coverage than the MAC Studio. I know this isn't a sunscreen, but I mean, like, tinted sunscreen to me seems like something where you would probably put foundation on top of it. Like, doesn't Supergoop have one that's like tinted, but people still wear it under their foundation? This is coverage. Like, it's a good medium, like high medium coverage, right? It says that you can get it to full. I couldn't get it to full based on my skin type and how it reacts with me. But it's a good medium coverage. It lasts literally all day. I wonder what it would be like if you went to like the lake and were like swimming and everything, if it would last, because I kind of feel like it would, because it is such a long lasting foundation. It's just it didn't do that. It didn't give me a spark. So it's in good, but it is the very top of my good foundations. All right, now we are going to move into the best of the best. My very, very favorite foundations that I tried this year. I've got 7 of them that I'm considering in the top. And I love you. I love you. I love you. I love you. So good. Are you ready to hear what they are? All right, let's get into it. All right, number 7. I don't even know if you've ever seen me use this on my channel, because I felt like it was too old to do a 3-day foundation wear test. I thought maybe, let me know if you'd like to see me do that. And I think I probably snuck it into like a full face makeup and have talked about it a little bit, but I did try this one this year, and that is the Pat McGrath Skin Fetish Sublime Perfection Foundation. Here, I'll take it out of the box. Yes, I keep it in the box because, listen, I love her. Okay, first of all, 10 out of 10 for the packaging. Obsessed, like always. It's super glamorous. The color, I'm not going to swatch this because that's not going to tell you anything about it. The color on this is perfection. This is the shade Light 3. It is a very thin matte. Okay, that is why it's at the bottom of my best ones, because it is more matte. It's like a full glam matte kind of situation, but it is like a skin like matte. Like it's very thin and still looks like skin somehow. It's a very beautiful foundation. I know this has very mixed reviews, but for me, someone who has dry skin, who really loves a hydrating, light to medium coverage foundation, and I really like things that truly look skin-like on the skin, and I love this. Now, mind you, I have dry skin, but I do not typically have like dry flaky bits on my skin. I have dry skin as in it is thirsty for hydration. It will suck the life out of foundations, so they need to have life in them, you know, kind of thing. So love this foundation. It is number 7. All right, number 6, which I only have a mini of. This is the Tarte Hydroflex foundation. Now this foundation actually kind of does remind me of the Tower 28 one. It has that same kind of like thin, reflective. I'm saying reflective to mean like glowy, but not necessarily hydrating. Like, yes, they are both like have some hydration to them, but they are like metallic in a non-metallic way. Like they have a glow about them that it doesn't matter how much you powder them or what's going on, you're gonna get a glow out of them kind of situation. So I like this one better than I like the Tower 28 one. I don't know why. Like I cannot verbalize that for you. I need to try them like side by side or like one day after the other so I can really see the comparison. But this one, like when I was wearing it, like I would catch myself being like, wow, my skin looks so pretty. Or like when I watch back the footage, I'm like, wow, my skin looks so pretty. And I just have like good vibes for this one. Whereas like, I mean, look at this, cute packaging award, who? Yes, but like something about this one, like when I would get up close, like I didn't like it on my skin, but this one, when I got up close, I still liked it on my skin. So, all right, remember a minute ago when I told you I love foundations that really look like skin on my skin? Number 5 is the most skin-like thing I've ever put on my skin, and that is the Fenty Beauty Eaze Drops. I got the shade 3. I probably should have gotten a paler shade, but it doesn't matter because it is a quite sheer situation. It's like a sheer, I mean, it could probably go to like medium, but I never really built it up. But this can be like, I think to me, this is kind of what MAC Studio Radiance Face and Body and like Glossier Skin Tint are to other people. Like it gives you that like skin-like finish, but perfected. So this has a little bit more coverage than either of those, but it still like somehow looks exactly like my skin on my skin. Like this has exactly my individual skin finish. You know what I mean? Like my skin, right after I moisturized, right after that's soaked in, you know, like regular skin finish. And it lasts in a way where the first 5 minutes of wear and 12 hours later looks exactly the same, and you can't really tell, like, did it just wear off super evenly, or is this how good it's looked like all day? Like, I wore this with mask. Like, this is the number one foundation that I would wear if I were going to go out and be like wearing a mask, then eating lunch with friends kind of thing. You know, like, I would trust this foundation for that kind of situation. So, number 5. Number 4. I have very similar feelings about the lasting through masks with this one, but this is number 4, Makeup Forever Reboot. This one on me, like, I've heard people call this a glowy foundation. On me, this sits very like satin matte. It like soaks down onto my skin. This is a very thin formula, and it's like that thin matte formula that I talk about. And it like sits on my skin so perfectly. This one does look a little bit more like makeup than the Fenty one. Like the Fenty one is like remarkable to me. Like I need to remark about it, how much like my skin it looks. But this one looks a little bit more like makeup. It has pretty good medium coverage, and it looks really beautiful on the skin. It is a little bit like, I call it matte because it like sets on my skin. But whenever I say matte, like I don't really keep like powder matte, like if you have oily skin, the kind of matte that you would want kind of foundations around. When I say matte, I mean more like a satin skin-like finish situation. Like what I've got on right now, this is matte to me, okay? Because it's like if you're looking right here, do you see how that's matte? That's matte. I don't mean this part, you know. Obviously the light's gonna reflect off my face kind of situation because these are such harsh lights. But like right here, like this is matte to me. So think of like that, where it's like this soft skin like matte, maybe like a satin situation. So that's what this gives me, but it is a really good long wearing foundation. I find that even when I wear a mask and stuff, it doesn't totally wear off on me like some foundations, especially when they're more dewy and hydrating. You have more of an issue with that. But for me, I find that this one lasts really, really long on me, and I love it. It is number 4. All right, number 3, oddly enough, is the very first foundation that I tried in the year 2021, and it ended up being in my top 3. Is that not ridiculous? This is the Milani Glow Hydrating Skin Tint. Now, this is the kind of thing that, like, the reason that MAC ends up being, the Studio Radiance ends up being in the good and not the best is because, to me, this one's the best. They are in the same family. Where did I put you? These are in the same family. They have, like, very, very much skin tint, like a very sheer, almost no coverage, very glowy skin, like I just did my skincare and I have beautiful skin kind of look. And I love that sometimes, you know, like sometimes I want some coverage, but sometimes I just want to look beautiful and glowy and like perfected a little bit, but really like you can see your freckles, you can see imperfections, anything like that, but it just looks so juicy and delicious on the skin. I think I haven't mixed it with anything, but I bet this would be really good mixed with things that have more coverage, or even like if you conceal everywhere that you need to and then put this all over your face, it would just look so juicy and delicious. This is definitely one of my favorites from this year. I love you so much. Number 2, again, this is one that I didn't do like a specific video including it. I think I might have used it in like a get ready with me or shop my stash kind of video, just like in the background situation. And I didn't really like push this to the forefront because it is an older foundation. But man, if I did not wear this is probably, yeah, I think this is probably the foundation that I wore the most just in my everyday life because it looks so pretty on the skin. It's so comfortable. This one doesn't have like the longest lasting time or like last throughout the dentist and things like that. Of course not. But this one is the perfect kind of glowy, but not like this is glow. This one is like glowy, like a beautiful glow skin-like medium coverage, and it has way more coverage than I thought that it would have, and that is the ColourPop Pretty Fresh Hyaluronic Acid Tinted Moisturizer. I loved this. I felt like last year I loved the like foundation version of this. That is a great foundation, but it is quite glowy. I thought this would be like more sheer and just as glowy, and I thought it would end up being more like this. But it's not. It's almost like a second foundation. It's not tinted moisturizer compared to that foundation. You know what I mean? Like that foundation is medium to full, but this is a really good medium. Like it has coverage, and this one has a really beautiful finish on the skin. And this is the kind that every time that I put it on, I was like, like I definitely noticed myself in the mirror every time, you're like looking to make sure your mascara didn't run or that you don't have boogers or something in your teeth. And I would notice like my actual makeup in my skin. I'd be like, oh, this one, what was that again? Oh, that was that ColourPop one. And I ended up wearing this like on the daily, like almost every day. I say almost every day, and it still just doesn't look like I've used like any at all. And that tells you like how little I wear foundation outside of videos that I'm filming. Because I don't leave my house. But anyways, love this foundation. It is number 2. My number 1 foundation that I tried in the year 2021 is the Shiseido Synchro Skin Radiant Lifting Foundation. I have the shade 140 Porcelain. I haven't been telling you my shades this whole time. I'm going to write these all down in the bar. I will try to put links to videos where I use them, and I will have the shades there too, in case you're curious. Most of these shades do work for me, but I did point out some of the ones that were a little bit darker for me if you were looking for just like general shade inquiries. I do also have a list in my description box of like my best shade matches in general that just is in my description box at all times if you want to use me as a shade reference. Anyways, back to this foundation. I love you. This foundation, I did a 3-day foundation wear test on it. It is the kind of foundation that every time I'm actually going to leave my house, like this one, I'm totally fine wearing this around the house, like if I just wanted to play around with my makeup and whatever, but like this is the one where I'm like, I put it on my face and I'm like, you have to take me to dinner tonight, like it's so beautiful on the skin. It's so good. It's got like a plumping glowy situation to it, but it is so like it has so much coverage for what it does, and it looks so beautiful on the skin. It looks so good. This is the kind of foundation that I think a lot of people would like, because I do feel like a lot of people base foundation on its coverage and not really much else, like if it has good coverage, then they're happy with it. Whereas I care more about it looking like skin-like and not getting too like gunked up or breaking apart and stuff like that, and being comfortable as well. Some foundations are not comfortable, but this one is comfortable. It looks beautiful on the skin. It gives me the coverage. It gives me a beautiful, like creamy, plump finish that's a hydrated finish. It works well with powders, without powders. It's just so freaking beautiful, and that is why you win the crown. I gotta stop that singing. That singing is horrible. I've been talking all day. I mean, you are beautiful in every single way. I love this foundation. So I'm going to stop talking about this one. Okay? But I love this foundation. It is my number 1 foundation. I love it so much. I need you to believe how much I love this. I think that you would love this. But if you don't want to spend this much money, because this one is expensive, go for this one. It's not as hydrating, but go for this one because it is beautiful as well. And if you do want something that's sheer and glowy, go for the Milani Glow. I'm telling you, You will not be disappointed. Okay, you might be disappointed in this one. I think you might be because there's no coverage to it. But I'm trying to warn you there's no coverage to it. So if you don't care about coverage, get this one. But if you care about coverage, get this one. Or maybe just get both of these and then you can have the glow and the coverage. Okay? I hope that was enough information for you guys. That was like an hour of filming. Good luck for me cutting this down. Those are my 2021 foundation rankings of everything that I tried this year. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. That helps me out so much. Subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!